Who are you? That is one of the hardest questions to answer, and it can be especially challenging whenever you are putting together your personal brand. I like to describe personal branding as having to take the three-dimensional side of yourself and putting it into a two-dimensional online presence. That can be very challenging. Often it can feel like we need to cut off several parts of who we are in order to create this online presence, and it can create a lot of paralysis by analysis and false starts. What I'm about to share with you has been massively insightful for me personally as I have gone about really honing in on who I personally am and what I want this YouTube channel to be about, to fully reflect my true authenticity. We're specifically going to be covering this topic via human design. If you're new to human design, this is a system that shows you how your unique energy works, and it is incredibly powerful. I will link to a quick start guide to human design in the description below if you want to learn more, but for the sake of this video, all you need to know is to pull up your chart and look at the gate that falls underneath this section. It is going to be a number on your chart. Now, I want to start by asking you a question. What is your sun sign? Whether you know astrology or not, you likely know your sun sign. Personally, I'm a Scorpio. This is something that we learned very early on. It's something that a lot of people refer to whenever you have a baby. Oh, you had a Pisces, or oh, it's Aquarius season, or whatever it is. And so it's something that even if we don't fully understand it, there have been elements that have been dripped to us throughout the years to give us some idea of who we are at a grand level. Now, the number that you have just pulled out will relate to this sun sign within astrology, but we dig a little bit deeper in human design, and we are going to look at a unique trait that you have that falls underneath that category of your sun sign. This is called your sun gate in human design, and it is the core essence of who you are. If you're like me, you're quickly Googling what is gate 28. But stick with me before you do that, because I'm going to walk you through how to get this information in a very clear and concise way. The first thing that is incredibly powerful when you're diving into this information is to understand how you are going to contribute to the world. There are those of us that are here for mutation. We are here to change things and move society forward. We're constantly doing things on the fringes of society and really wanting to innovate and be those disruptors. That is a certain subset of the population. It's not everyone. Then there are the collective. The collective is going to take the change that is created by the individual, and they're going to say, whoa, there's something there. And they're going to dig deeper into that and look at it from all different angles. They're going to experiment with it as well as experience it, whatever it is. And they're not going to necessarily change things. They're just going to take something that is already in existence and make it stronger. Then you have another subset of the population that is all about rituals, it's about family, it's about business, it's about laws, it's about contracts, and really focusing on that part of society and the energy of creating community amongst all of that. And so understanding which bucket of these that you fall under can be extremely helpful when determining what your personal brand is about. So for example, for me, I fall underneath the first category. I am very much a disruptor, an innovator. I'm doing things that are shifting things forward. And knowing that about my brand has really helped me hone in on how I talk about things. So from a human design perspective, for example, I'm not just going to be creating videos that are about specific gates or specific channels, which has already been done, but I want to kind of go about things in a little bit of a different approach. So let's find out which bucket you fall under. I previously described the individual, collective, and tribal circuitries in that order. I'm hopping on the computer to explain this a little bit more clearly than I did previously, because I really want you to understand it. So what you are looking at right now is what I previously described in chart form, essentially. So I previously described what it means to be individual, collective, and tribal, at least from a gate perspective. There's way more nuances in the chart, but I'm staying really high level here. Now, the next thing that I want you to do is be able to see which camp do I fall under in terms of the core essence of who I am, because this will give you some insight into how your brand will operate. So what you'll do is you're going to look at your chart And here's my chart. You'll say 28, and then you find where 28 is in the chart. Now, it's really small for the sake of this, but right here is 28. The numbers never move within the chart. So once you find it, it might take a second to find it. You can then look at each one of these and find that, and you want to see where is it black in the chart. So right here, this is 28 and it's black. So I am individual. Now let's look at a couple of other charts so that you can see all the options here. So this person is 63. So we would find 63 in the chart here, which is going to be right here. And I just know where everything is, but it'll take a little bit more searching for you. And then I would say, okay, it's in the head. So I'll look here. Oh, that's not black right there. So this person isn't individual. And then I'd say, oh, look, it's black right here. So that means that this person is collective. Now, if we show a tribal example, this person has 21 in their sun sign, and that is right here in the chart. And so when we see right here, it is black. And so this person has tribal energy. So you are seeing which one you have. Now, I want to point out that I am covering this at a very high level. If you resonate with the individual, collective, or tribal, and you find that your energy does not fall under that, it's likely because you have other energies that do fall underneath that. But we are specifically looking at your core essence, which is going to be really how your brand is showing up, at least in terms of how we are approaching it experimentally in this video. If you have not already, head on down to the comment section below and drop your gate as well as the circuit that it falls under and what's resonating with you so far. And then as you watch the rest of the video, you can edit that comment and share the other two sections that we're going to be covering of how that's resonating with you. I really want the comment section to be an opportunity for other people when they find this video to go and read the comments to see if other people have that same energy and how that's showing up in their brand. The next thing I want you to look at is the decimal point that is after the number that you have. So for me, it's 28.4. So in this case, I'm going to be focusing on the 4. This number is going to make up your profile in human design, and this is the role that you're here to play. It's the costume that you wear as you move through life. And I previously made a video on this that dives into all of the numbers 1 through 6 to understand how this can play into your online persona. So I'm going to link to that in the description below to save myself time, as well as at the end of this video. But for a quick insight into this, you can see all 6 numbers on the screen now and what they refer to, and just take note. What resonates about this? Now let's finally talk about the actual gate and what that means and how to look it up. In a second, I will give you some resources, but first I want to dive into how to approach this material. So you absolutely have to experiment with it. You're gonna go read about it. It may or may not make sense at first. I'm gonna give you some quality resources for it, but then pay attention to it. How does that show up in your everyday life? By understanding how that shows up in your everyday life and talking to other people in your circle about what they see in you with that energy, it will then give you massive clarity on how it shows up in your business and how you can bring more of that into your content so that you can be fully authentic online. I'm telling you, this has been crazy clarity for me. A couple quick resources: The Definitive Book of Human Design. This book is like source information. It is very cryptic, but there's a frequency in the words on the page. So you very much will use this as a textbook, and if you continue watching this channel, I'm going to continue referring to this book, so you might as well buy it. I will link it in the description below. It goes through all of the individual gates as well as multiple other parts of the chart as well. This is the second book that I do recommend getting as well. This is Gene Keys, which is like a cousin to Human Design. They actually started the same, and then this person is considered a traitor by the founder of this. But hey, the information I think is actually very helpful and easy to understand. So might as well get that too. It also covers all of the 64 gates and gives you a different perspective about how to think about it. Some people think this is easier to understand as a beginner. And because you're watching YouTube, clearly you're someone that likes watching videos. Feel free to YouTube your gate and watch about that, as well as the channel associated with it. So the way that you would do this is you would type in channel with your number plus the number that goes along with it, which is opposite to that. So you would say, for example, for my gate 28, I find where that is in the chart. I look at the opposite of that, which is 38, and I would type in channel 28 to 38, and I would watch the videos on how that energy operates. And finally, you could book a reading with someone. I do readings within my business, and I'm more than happy to nerd out on this stuff according to your brand, as well as talk about many other elements of your chart as well. So there's many different ways to go about it, but these are the very quick ways to dive into this information, understand it, and then be able to actually apply it in your business. Whoa, don't go anywhere just yet. Let's tie this all together and ground this in a practical example by looking at how I have used my sun sign to dictate this pivot that I'm going on YouTube. I have gate 28 in my sun. This is the gate of the game player, someone that looks at the game of life and determines where they're going to move their next piece in order to find purpose in their life. It is all about being a risk taker. So my brand very much has to take on this element of being a risk taker in order for it to be really resonating with people. And this is so very true as I further embody this energy on my channel. When I first started this channel, I was taking a risk to be able to leave my full-time business in shooting and editing videos for people in order to transition online. And I did that using the course business. And so there was a lot of people interested in how to escape the time for money trap that came to me that were inspired because I am an individual here to mutate things and do things a little bit differently. And people look at those individuals and say, whoa, how can I do that? That really draws people in. At a certain point, I stopped taking risks and I kind of lived in the comfort zone of this business and the money that was coming in. And honestly, things were kind of plateauing on my channel. So I began looking for the next risk that I wanted to take. And it definitely comes with this burn it down energy. It's like, I don't care what anyone else thinks. I want to go my own way. I want to do my own thing. I mentioned this in a previous video just a couple weeks ago about how scary this risk is, and it really reinvigorated my channel. And the reason that I was able to do that is because I came out and decided to become the risk taker again, who is deciding to pivot my content from people just learning video online in a very sustainable way to people that are becoming their most authentic selves and sharing from that place by using human design. A lot of people told me, don't try to do it on one channel altogether, separate the two. But because I have gate 28 in my sun, I know that this is a risk worth taking, and I do believe it's gonna bring purpose into my life, because running after two different rabbits or two different channels is not going to get me anywhere from a viewpoint of being a projector in human design. That's another side of this, but I digress. Now, looking at the gene key side of this, there are 3 different elements of gene keys, and this is how I want you to approach it within your business as well. There's a low frequency, a transition between the low frequency to the high frequency. So the low frequency is purposelessness. So whenever I'm feeling this in my life, that shows me, ooh, I'm not living in the high frequency version of this, or even just the gift, because realistically, you're not going to reach the high frequency, which in this case is immortality. I will die eventually. So the goal is to live in the gift, which is totality. Now, this has been something that has also been giant as I navigate this pivot for me. So how can I be 2 feet in, full send energy into this transition? And the way that I'm doing that is by using human design in every single video that I create, even if it's a small mention of it. Now, there's a lot more that I could dive into about this, but that is a very high level example of how I have incorporated this into my brand and how I'm using it to create more effective content that is getting me out of this plateau stage to move to the next stage. Now it's your turn to embody this sun sign and fully live in your your power. If you have not already, be sure to drop which gate you have in your sun sign in the comments below, and I will definitely hit you back with some wisdom. And if you want to deep dive into this information further, then here's that video on the online personas, as well as another video related to human design that you can binge watch next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.